Hello, the Pioneer viewers. We continue to bring you all the hot developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. And as you know, the war continues with all its intensity. In the waves of attacks launched by the Ukrainian army in the past days, the Russian army suffered great losses. The fact that the Russian army suffered new losses on top of the losses it suffered surprised Moscow. The Ukrainian army continues its attacks against the Russian targets at every opportunity it finds, and the reports published the other day revealed the defeat of the Russian army. According to information we obtained from the local sources, the Ukrainian army continues its attacks. Within the scope of the strategic offensive operations, targets belonging to the Russian army are being hit one by one. While Kiev officials stated that the attacks will continue, they also emphasized that the defense preparations against the attacks to be made by Russia are sufficient. So the Ukrainian army is fulfilling its duty in both offensives and defensive fronts, and international initiatives are trying to find solutions to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Moscow, on the other hand, shows little interest in negotiations. While developments in the war continue, important gains are also being made in the political arena. Support for Ukraine from European countries is still increasing day by day, and the Ukrainian army continues its breathtaking operations. Last day, an ammunition depot belonging to the Russian army was destroyed by the Ukrainian army forces, and after the breathtaking attack of the Ukrainian army, the Russian army suffered great losses again. According to local sources, the Ukrainian army organized a stormy attack, and a huge explosion sounded after the attack. Giant smoke clouds covered the sky with the effect of the explosions in another attack by the Ukrainian army, and many drones belonging to the Russian army were damaged. The Ukrainian army has been putting good pressure on the Russian targets in recent days. Experts say that the firepower of the Russian army has never been so low throughout the war, and that the Ukrainian army is close to gaining the upper hand. So the progress on the battlefield also pleases the Kiev authorities. The Ukrainian army continues its efforts to clear the Russian army from the occupied territories. Now, if you're ready, let's examine the latest developments together. But as the Pioneer, we continue to bring you the latest developments on the Ukraine war. It's Russia-Ukraine war, not the Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. You know that I also read all of your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments. Let's start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. So, reports have emerged in recent days that an ammunition depot belonging to the Russian army was destroyed in an attack by the Ukrainian army. According to the footage posted on social media, the Ukrainian army struck an ammunition storage point in Kursk, near the border, causing an explosion. The account cited the massive explosion that followed essentially wiped out in the target location. So, Anton Grishchenko, a former advisor to Ukraine's interior minister, posted the same footage on his social media account, and he wrote also on the video that it was the Ukrainian attack on the storage of the Russian army equipment and ammunition in the Kursk region of Russia. On the day of the incident, local media reported that the Ukrainian army also hit the command post of the Russian Rifle Regiment in the village of Nekhotyevka in Russia's Belgorod region near the Russian-Ukrainian border. Kiev sources confirmed the attack in a report and citing dispatches from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Foreign international media also reported on the strikes targeting the Russian Belgorod region when the three Ukrainian drones attacked the city of Kryvyi. It was reported that the press corps had difficulty keeping up with the Ukrainian army's attacks. In the vast terrain, the Ukrainian army is trying to organize attacks from all points on the front line. So, the latest attack is not the first time Kursk has been targeted by Ukraine. In March, the Freedom of Russia Legion, a pro-Ukrainian Russian militia unit, said its fighters had destroyed 2 Russian ammunition depots in the same area. In 2023, there were also several raids on the Belgorod region, and one of the group's volunteers, Alexei Branovsky, said last summer that such attacks were proof that Putin's military was weakening. In another statement in June 2023, he said the presence of the Russian government and armed forces to the rebel invasion of the Belgorod region was not weak. So, contrary to weaknesses, the available information shows that Putin's army is trying to do its best, but it is still unable to resist the Ukrainian army. The Russian army suffered many losses after the airstrike organized by the Ukrainian army the other day. Chief among these losses are the Iranian-made Shahed drones. The emerging images revealed the losses suffered suffered by the Russian army. So satellite images released after a drone strike on Russia's southern Krasnodar Krai show damage to the Russian Shahed kamikaze drone base. So the drones, which have important missions for the Russian military, are being shut down by Ukraine, and Ukraine's military is advancing its own drone skills every day. Footage was released after the explosions were heard in the Russian city of Yeysk in Krasnodar. Initially reported emerged on the first day that a military airbase had been hit. Images released on the second day showed at least one destroyed building. So Ukraine has frequently attacked Russian military bases, saying that they are legitimate targets in the ongoing war between the two countries, which began in February 2022 after the Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his full-scale invasion. So as a result of the Ukrainian attacks, the Russian military suffered heavy losses. The images were also shared by the Ukrainian Navy on the day of the attack. In a post on social media, it said that the pictures showed the destruction of the warehouses used by the Russian military to launch Iranian-designed Shahed drone, which Moscow had used extensively in the war in Ukraine. The Ukrainian Navy said it worked with the Ukrainian Security Service to destroy the facility. New satellite imagery confirms the destruction of the Shahed 136 Granium to drone storage and preparations facilities, training buildings, control and communication points for these drones located in Krasnodar Krai, and Navy said. So the Ukrainian Navy claimed the attack killed instructors training the Russian forces to launch the drones, as well as the cadets learning how to use them to attack Ukrainian territory. The naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, together with their colleagues from the defense forces, will continue to destroy the enemy on land and the sea and in the air. But right now, it's your turn. You guessed it, right? So what do you think about the attack on the Russian ammunition depot? How do you think the Ukrainian army is dealing with the Russian army in counterattacks? And how do you interpret the situation of the Russian army? How do you interpret the damage caused by the Ukrainian army to the Russian targets? You know that I care about your opinion a lot, so please share it with me.